Hello my chaos crew. Got a quick little tutorial to run through with you guys today. I'll be working on a granny stitch bandana. So to start, I'm going to have a 100% cotton yarn that I'm working with, weight 4, but you can use any yarn and hook size that you prefer, just whatever is going to be the most comfortable for you to work with. And to start off, I'm going to begin with a magic circle. So I'm going to lay the yarn on the back side of my hand, or the palm of my hand, across my 3 fingers. And I'm going to wrap the yarn around, forming an X on the back of my hand. And I'm going to take my crochet hook, I'm going to slide under this front yarn, and I'm going to hook the back yarn and pull it underneath that front thread. I'm going to turn my hook so that it is inside this loop that we just formed, and I'm going to go ahead and pull on my working yarn here. So now I'm going to go ahead and chain 3, and this is going to count as my first double crochet. You can chain 2 if that's your preference there. We really just want to go ahead and get the height for the double crochets. Now to complete our first granny cluster, I'm going to do 2 more double crochet into the magic circle. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the magic circle, yarn over and pull through. Now I'm going to have these 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to go ahead and yarn over and pull through the first 2. That's going to leave me with 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through those 2. And now we've got our second double crochet. We're going to go ahead and do that one more time. Yarn over, insert our hook into the magic circle, pull through. We've got our 3 loops here. Yarn over, pull through 2, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through 2. Now there we've got our first cluster completed. Now for our bandana, our round is only going to have 2 clusters. So I'm going to go ahead and chain 3. Normally for my granny square corners, I chain 2. Because we're doing a bandana and I want this point to be a little bit more dramatic, we're going to go ahead and chain 3. And then I'm going to do 1 more cluster into the magic circle here. So we're going to do 3 double crochet to give us our cluster. Pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, now we have our clusters complete, and we can see a bit of a triangle forming here. I'm going to go ahead and pull my tail from the magic circle, and we're going to close this up. Now usually if I were doing a granny square or some other type of pattern, I would want to slip stitch into this first stitch from our triple chain. But since we're doing a bandana, we're going to go ahead and just pull this closed as tight as we can, and I'm going to go ahead and chain 3 for my first double crochet. And I always like to turn my work. This ensures that there's no right or wrong side. So I'm going to go ahead and yarn over and insert my hook into this first stitch. Pull through. Got 3 on our hook. I'm going to pull through the first 2 and pull through 2. Now we'll do 1 more to finish up our first granny cluster for round 2. Now we're going to go right into this tip, and we're going to do a cluster. So that's 3 double crochet. We're going to follow that by a chain of 3. Again, I usually would do a chain 2 in corners for granny squares, but we want this one to be a little bit more pointed. So I'm going to go ahead and chain 3 and then do my second cluster in this space. So we'll have 2 clusters total separated by a chain 3. Oops, my fingers are getting tangled. Now we're back to the top here. We're going to go ahead and find that first chain 3 stitch that we made, and we're going to insert our hook. Be mindful of your tension because you will need to be slip stitching back into those stitches. So don't be like me and don't make them too tight so it's not a struggle. Okay, now we'll pull through 2, pull through 2, and we'll do that 2 more times to give us our final cluster of round 2. And we're really just going to repeat this process until we get to our desired size. Now I'll do round 3 with you so we can see what we do when we get to the non-pointed spaces. So we're going to go ahead and chain 3 for our first double crochet. Again, if you feel better or more comfortable doing a chain 2 there, go right ahead. We're going to yarn over and insert our hook into this first stitch space. Pull through the first 2, pull through 2, and we'll have our first cluster of round 3. Now we're coming to a space that is not our tip, so instead of doing any chains, we're simply going to do 1 cluster. And if you're familiar with the granny square tutorial, then this is going to be pretty familiar process for you. It's a lot like that. We only have 1 corner to work in though, and we're not joining every round. Now we're going to come to our point again, and we will do a cluster followed by 3, a chain of 3, and then we will do another cluster. So here's our first cluster. We'll go ahead and chain 3 and do our second cluster in the same spot. And then we'll finish up the side the same way we just did the opposite side. So we'll do a cluster into this space. And we'll find that first stitch from our chain 3 that we'll go ahead and crochet into. And now we'll just go on repeating this until we have our desired size. We'll be doing every space that we come across with a cluster, and then for our pointed space we'll do a cluster followed by a chain 3 and another cluster. So go ahead and work on this, and let's get to our desired length. I will catch you guys once we've gotten the right size so we can finish off by adding our ties. Okay, now that we've gotten our desired size for our bandana, and for mine I did 10 rows, I'm gonna go ahead and at this top corner here, I'm gonna just chain 40. Okay, and I'm going to add one more, so 41 total for turning. And now I'm just going to do a single crochet all the way down until we reach the end here. I'm going to skip this first loop that's on my hook, and we're going to chain into this first stitch. And we're going to do that all the way down. Just a single crochet to the beginning. Okay, now that we're at the beginning of our chain, we are going to go ahead and crochet into the first stitch on the top side of the bandana. So we're just going to do a single crochet and make sure you get under both stitches. And now we're just going to work our way down the top here, working a single crochet in each stitch. And they're a little hard to see. You might have to make some of the stitches as you go, but you can see where your hook will slide into as you go along. So you'll just work like this along the top. And again, you might have to force your hook in a few of the stitches as you work your way down. Now when we get to the center where we closed our circle, I'll meet you there so I can show you how I work through the center. But until then, just keep working your single crochet along the top here. Okay, now that we've reached the center where we pulled our magic circle closed, you can see where the two clusters are separated. I like to go ahead and just crochet right in that center there. And then I continue working down. So that keeps it nice and secure. It goes through 2 stitches instead of just 1. And then I'll begin to yarn or work over my tail here. So I'm going to hold down the tail as I work through these stitches. That way I don't have to weave in the tail. I'm just going to crochet over it. And it will be less work to do in the end here. So we'll just keep the tail flat while we single crochet. And you'll see that that allows us to crochet over the tail while we work. And now we'll just continue to do that, crocheting over our tail, unless you want to weave your ends separately, until we get to the end of the row. Now that we've reached the end here, we are going to go ahead and chain another 40 and then single crochet back down. It'll be 41 total because we'll do our 40 and then we'll chain 1 for turning. So we'll go ahead and complete that. And now that I've got my 41 chain, I'm going to go ahead and skip this first stitch and work into the second one from my hook. A single crochet all the way down to the end. And then I will meet you back at the bottom of this chain so I can show you how we will slip stitch this, secure it to the bandana, and tie off. Now that we've gotten to the end and we are back to our corner, we are going to simply slip stitch in to these first few stitches on the side. So here's the first one. I'm going to yarn over and pull through. And instead of yarning over again, I'm just going to pull through for this slip stitch. And then I'm going to do this for the next stitch as well, just to make sure it's nice and secure here. And now we have, and from here you'll go ahead and weave in any of your loose tails using your darning needles that you should have handy. Once you're done, you're done. You'll have your handmade crochet bandana that I do hope you'll post online and maybe even tag me in, because I would love to see your creations. That's it, guys. Pretty short and sweet. I hope you enjoyed following along with this tutorial. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below and what tutorials you would like to see next. Until we talk again, guys, I wish you happy stitching. Take care. Bye.